You're 7 months into this job now. How do you think it's going?
I've been hugely impressed by what I've seen across the whole of Police Scotland, officers, staff. I've been all over the country. Brilliant people, passionate about serving the public, passionate about ensuring that that service is the best that it can be, and I've been blown over by the people I've met and the enthusiasm they have for their roles.
If your officers are telling you the same things that some of them tell me, they'll be saying, we don't have the resources we need, we don't have enough people, some of our cars are knackered, the stations are crumbling, we've been promised body-worn cameras, we don't have them. That gives the impression of it not being a happy ship.
So, shall I take? I'll take each of them in turn. Let's do the straightforward one. Body-worn will roll out from the end of the summer. Long overdue, will be significant, both in terms of the evidence capture, both in terms of officer safety, both in terms of trust and confidence of the public. What
your colleagues want above everything else is more people, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, really impressed by the people and that I've seen and spoken to. I'm really focused in relation to frontline policing. When I say that, I don't just mean roads policing and response. I mean community policing. I mean those people who investigate crime. Everybody who has contact with the public, with victims, with witnesses, our detectives, our people who work in our command and control rooms, all of the people that have an impact. And my priority is to make sure that the front line is the best in terms of numbers and capacity that it can be.
People are leaving, people are taking early retirement because they've had enough of doing more with less. How do you turn that around?
Well, some of the early retirement is a matter of the pension scheme and the opportunity that it presents people. So I wouldn't agree that people are leaving because they are fed up. I speak to a lot of people as they retire, and they are hugely enthusiastic in terms of their careers. So, focus on the front line, priority around making that as strong as it can be moving forward. Because policing is complex. We are the only people who deal with road traffic collisions. We are the only people who investigate domestic abuse. We are the only people who investigate online child abuse. We're the only people who tackle serious and organised crime and people who peddle drugs and misery. But what I've observed in those 7 months is two big key things in terms of our ability to deliver on the front line. First is our involvement in relation to supporting people around mental health, which you may have reported on in the past. Now,
we've both actually separately in the last couple of months visited the Nuke in Perth.
Yes.
Intervention, a point of crisis. Is that the sort of thing you would like to see more widespread, and how would that take the demand away from the police? So what that facility enables to do, and the people there are just brilliant. And similarly, there's a similar but different provision here down in Glasgow, and there's other pockets of good practice. It enables officers to deal with the immediate. And then they've got somewhere where they can take an individual, where they know they can leave them and they'll be supported. But it's a patchwork quilt. It's a postcode lottery. And in the absence of that, my officers are spending time sitting, supporting, whether it's in accident emergency, whether it's in more acute mental health facilities. That is not the role of the police. That is not the role of the police. I'm not saying we all turn our backs on people, but our role is in the very critical, where somebody is at risk of harming themselves or harming somebody else or harming the public. Our role is not to step in and wrap round many vulnerabilities that exist that we would all recognise. That is not the role for the police. Given how tight everything is, and in some cases you've had to say there are certain things that cannot be fully investigated, How do you staff the implications of the hate crime bill?
So in the early weeks of the hate crime bill, we saw a significant amount of online reporting. We anticipated that. As you know, the vast majority of it was anonymous reporting. So it did put some initial demand on us. I would say now, some weeks in, we've returned to the new norm in terms of levels of reporting. Police officers, police staff are used to dealing with surges in demand. That's the complexity of the business that we operate. Some things we can anticipate. We knew that was coming. We put extra resource in early on.
Do you think that the police made any missteps around that? Things like the hate monster campaign, a lot of people had a lot of opinions about that, but did you get everything right about your approach to dealing with this legislation?
Well, the hate monster had nothing to do with the hate crime legislation. It was a campaign from last year in relation to tackling hate and bias, and was in no way connected with the hate crime legislation. Parliament legislated, modernised, refined, bringing together pieces of other legislation, and our policing response is to investigate, take reports and investigate that. I've been hugely impressed by the way in which, in that initial few weeks, we were able to surge resources, that we had people who were expert in this area and they were able to give confidence and support to other colleagues, so that we had consistency in approach, so that we had a real focus around proportionality and a human rights approach to the way in which we dealt with this.
What do you say to those who say someone saying something nasty on Twitter is a bigger priority than a break-in or something like that? We've seen people say that sort of thing. Every
thing we deal with, every incident we deal with, we make an assessment, and part of that assessment is about immediacy. Part of it is about harm. We're not here to clamp down on free speech. We're not here to limit people's rights to free speech. There will be judgments that need to be made as this legislation beds down and is interpreted. And this isn't new. There's new legislation all the time, and policing adapts and it tries to ensure consistency of approach, and that we learn lessons.
Obviously, Operation Branchform has been very high profile. We've recently seen Peter Murrell charged. Is that the conclusion of the inquiry, or does that continue?
So it's an ongoing live inquiry, and the report will go to the Crown Office in a matter of weeks.
So as an ongoing inquiry, could we expect to see more people facing charges?
That I'm not going to say any more, because on the basis that it's an ongoing inquiry.
OK, but it's not finished, clearly, you're from saying it's ongoing. Your predecessor, Ian Livingstone, about this time last year, said that the force was institutionally racist and discriminatory. When you started, you said you accepted that assessment. Is that still the case now?
It is. We've come a long way. Where cultural change takes time, and I want to reiterate where we started. Hugely impressed by the people I've met in this organisation. The vast majority of them withhold the standards that we would expect in policing, and we should be I'm very proud of what I see, and very confident of what I see.
After all your years in policing, do you still enjoy it?
It's fantastic.
What would you say to a teenage Joe Farrell today who might be thinking about, is that a career I should go? I hear all this stuff about people saying they don't have the resources, they've got all these challenges to deal with, it's difficult. Why should someone join?
The variety, the camaraderie, the satisfaction of it, the impact that we can have on the public. People don't ring us to tell us they're having a good day. They ring us to say, I've got a problem and I need your help. And the satisfaction that goes with that, and the satisfaction of locking up bad people and seeing justice done, and being part of that team and part of a group of people who can make a real difference to people's lives. And the career opportunities and the variety of it in terms of different areas of policing, different areas of business is just absolutely fantastic. And so this sounds like a pitch, doesn't it?
Well, is this a better job than when you started as a constable? Is it not as good a job, or is it just different?
It's just different. It's 30 plus years. It's just different. You know, crime's different. We're more diverse. The organisation's more diverse. So that's a great thing. That's a great thing. But we continue to evolve to meet the challenges that come at us in the way in which crime develops, the way in which criminals exploit technology, and then the way in the changing face of crime, and trying to always be ahead of that.
But when you get up in the morning, you still look forward to what's the day going to bring?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you very much for talking to us on Scotland's Night.
Thank you.